same, but I've also wanted to do something to help other parents who face this really difficult place. And I've always felt that I had a platform if I chose to use it. Um, and I began by writing a book, which was about the first 2 years, about the run up to Dom's suicide, the suicide itself, and the aftermath. Um, and having written that, I showed it to my daughter, and I have to explain. My daughter is she is a writer herself, and she did creative writing, so she's pretty ruthless at
Well,
my work. So I gave it to her and said, "Look, what do you think?" And her comment was, "Mum, you need to go away and do some other writing. You need to." I think I don't. She wasn't saying it was rubbish, but she was saying that I didn't have a distance enough from it, in her opinion, and I needed to do other forms of writing. So I licked my wounds a bit, and 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 I'd coincidentally seen somebody on Facebook, and it was somebody who was giving some free advice to potential, prospective writers, and her advice was go on Substack. This is a great platform. And so the two came together, really. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a whirl. So I joined Substack in the February, just before Dom's the fourth anniversary of his birthday, and I decided that I was going to set myself a challenge and do 2 posts a week, which nearly killed me. I hadn't quite realised what I was setting myself. 2 posts a week between the day of his birthday, 25th of February, and the date when he died, which was the 29th of April. It was a 9-week period. They were the same days of the week. And this was what I was going to do this year. It felt like, well, come on, do something different this year. So that's what I did. In doing that, I started to discover how much trauma I still had inside me. But that's another question, so I'll stop there.
Yeah. Oh, you're just I'm just like, I could just sit here and listen to you literally all day without even asking more questions. But I love that too, because that also makes me feel good that I have created a space where somebody feels comfortable to continue to share.
Yeah.
And I want you to feel like that. I will tell you that Marjorie says hello. Can only be here for a bit. Great to see you, Esther. Thank you for sharing your journey. So I just thought I'd highlight that comment because that was very sweet. I wanted to welcome in Motherhood, Rebecca, Berta. Motherhood says, I'm sorry who passed away. I missed it. Okay. So this is Esther. That is a question for you.
The person who passed away, I'm going to tilt my camera here. This is me with my 3 children and my old dog, and Dom is wearing the green, and he passed away. He died, took his life when he was 30 in April 2021, and the other 2 there are his younger brother and sister, Marcus and Caitlin. So yeah, big.
Yeah, that's why
I would ever come out with that sentence. It just seems astonishing, but of course it just trips off my tongue now, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, a part of sharing dumb stories, unfortunately, sharing all of the truth of it. So, with that being said, it rolls right into question number 2.
Okay.
She said, Motherhood said, I'm so sorry. My brother passed away at 42.
It's more common than we realize. There's a lot of...
Today is his birthday.
Oh.
Motherhood, we're giving you hugs.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Yeah. Are you managing to find a way of celebrating as well as obviously feeling very sad?
I think I feel like I'm not going to speak for her, but I feel like what I have noticed with people in my world is it is very difficult the first couple of years of losing somebody to celebrate their birthday.
Very.
It takes a while for people to get comfortable to do that, but I think it's so important. I think it is so important because that's how I think you continue to keep them alive within the family. That's the only way that I could speak about it. But she says, I'm trying to be, but very sad. I'm thinking of writing something for him today. Whatever your gut tells you to do, you should do that. Like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Eric, thanks for joining. Like the way that you said you committed to 9 weeks of 2 posts a day from...
Yeah.
I think in that type of dedication, that is very impactful. So now I feel like I have to go further back into your Substack to find those original post.
I explained to you how basically I began. I didn't know where I was going with it. Like none of us do we? We just start writing. So I started the writing, and it was kind of a couple of posts in that I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And it was, those things where you say, I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to do whatever. And you say it and then you think, I can't back out of it now. I've got to do it. Everyone's heard me saying it. So it was a bit of one of those moments, really. And I said, but it seemed to me something I could do in what's a very difficult period of time. They're quite close together these days. So there were 9 weeks and like, what do you do in these 9 weeks? So that was my decision to do that. Yeah.
Did you feel like it helped you process the feelings along the way? Or
I think what I did was actually bite off almost more than I could chew, because I hadn't realized until I started writing how much trauma was inside me, and that I said to a friend, a wiser person probably would have gone to a therapist, with this stuff. And I didn't. I wrote it. I wrote it out, and it helped me enormously, but it was very painful. I mean, it is a lovely community Substack that did help, but I was going back into very, very difficult places, and I would sometimes be shaking as I wrote, which is not something I recommend.
Well, writing through that,
yeah,
your body is definitely telling you some stuff. So I wanted to send this real quick to somebody because I hadn't seen somebody join, but I commend you for doing it. But I also hope you learn to give yourself some grace too in this process.
I learned, and I think probably the message that came after that, because I then went on to do some other posts, because I perceived that as a bespoke period, and then from there I then moved on to think, right, because that was the kind of hoping that I'd be okay, but I came up with something from the letters HOPE, hope, because that's the first series was hope, and it was holding on or painfully enduring. It was like it was one or the other. It's like there's a lot of painful enduring where it's just like, okay, you've committed, you're going to do this, you're going to see it through. I've got a very good partner who, thank goodness, who was able to pick me up when I needed it.
Well, I think we don't. I think us humans fail to forget sometimes the other humans that we allow in to do that.
Yeah,
because like you have to allow somebody to help you too. A lot of people don't know how to communicate their needs or their frustrations or whatever is going on with them. So you have to be open to allowing somebody to help. So
I agree.
I'm glad that you did that.
Yeah. I think I recognized I needed that, and then the other thing I realized, I think the message that came out from that was, well, there's two things. And if you do look back in my post, I'd recommend you reading the one which is called The Last Post, because I talked about the fact that I'd always felt that the trauma was there and I would be able to walk away from it. I felt like I need to walk away from it. I need to at some point just say, enough, over there you go. I'm going in this direction now. But in fact, finding a way to do that was very much to do with putting down the guilt and the anger and the memories, which were quite haunting, of times that Dom had been really up against it. And having done that, my next series was about obstacles to healing. And a lot of that, the thread that runs throughout that, is self-compassion. And I realized that when I was looking at all the trauma, I hadn't been self-compassionate. That was what was missing, self-compassion. I had the resilience, I've got that, and I could be strong, I could do all those things. But self-compassion was like the key. It was the key, and I wasn't being self-compassionate.
I think that's what helps you also not continue to blame yourself.
Yeah.
Because again,
yeah.
Well, I have questions from that post, but but that giving yourself a pass, I mean, that definitely comes from understanding that you can only do so much. Just like I said, you had to allow somebody in to help you.
Yeah.
So did Dom.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what unfortunately he struggled with. And I think when you realize and shift the perspective just a little bit, like, I don't have to carry this weight.
No.
You don't have to do that.
But I mean, I have my own theories about Dom almost, that because he was really he did all the stuff you're supposed to do. You're supposed to talk about the stuff. You're supposed to exercise. You're supposed to do have therapy. He took he did all. And his brother said Tom did everything he was supposed to do, and that's what felt so wrong to us. He was immensely brave, and he put himself into difficult situations to become more resilient, and he did it all. And I actually think when it came to it, I think he was just tired. I think he was really worn out, and he just couldn't. It's like, I can't do this again. It was, another dip. And it's like, okay. And we don't know. We never know. This is a problem when somebody takes a life. We don't know what the reason was. But I think we'd witnessed Dom so many times working so hard, and it kept coming back. And I think that was very cruel for him. He put all that effort in, got himself straight, then he'd be okay for a while, then it kept coming back. And I think he just thought, well, you're told suicide awareness. It's like, don't do it, because you don't know. You don't know if, what your life's going to look like the other side. I think Don would say, well, actually, I do. I do.
He got used to.
Before. I know what's at the other side.
Yeah, he got used to having the same unfortunate outcome.
Yeah.
And I hate that for people, honestly, because it can be very uphilly. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Damn, I wish Mindful of It was in here, because I don't want to say this is a care thing, but she talks about care in the UK and how hard it is to even see psychiatrists and to get proper diagnosis and stuff like that. So would that have made a difference? I don't know. But I'm just saying, it does hurt when you're somebody that feels like you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, and the outcomes.
I think that was what he was doing. I think that's where he was. And of course, hindsight is a great thing, and you think, well, if we'd known, if da da da. But that's another way of just beating yourself up. The what ifs are just another form of self torture, and it doesn't bring them back. And they wouldn't want us to be torturing ourselves.
Right.
They seriously would not want us to. But it takes a while for that kind of to carry much weight, because you think, well, it doesn't matter what they think. I think I deserve to be tortured. So it takes a long time for certain things to carry an equal weight. It's like there's this guilt which is just squashing everything else down, like the sort of compassion, sometimes the logic, sometimes the history, what actually did happen, the true facts. You can make things seem different from what they are. It takes a long, long time, but I think the trauma, for me, I think if I'd give any advice to anybody who's gone through this, it would be, sort your trauma out. Don't you can't sort your trauma out, it's badly put, but address it, because I think that I hadn't realised how much that was a driver behind so much. And I feel much better now that I've done my own version.
Talked about it, not having the conversations with the right people. I'm not saying go talk to Joe Schmo on the corner just to talk to Joe Schmo on the corner. I'm be conscientious of the people that you surround yourself during this time, because they should be supportive and caring and compassionate and all the things that you deserve to have during that, and would also give back if it was the roles were reversed, right? So real quick, Motherhood said she personally she says, I find writing it out more helpful than therapy that she's done. And I completely agree with that. I mean, I have been in therapy and I have started to write, and I'm just like, the things that come up when when you put some words on some paper. Chano, the Queen's Addiction. Oh, Mindful of It. Sandy, the Bathrobe.
Hi, Chano. I know Chano. Chano and I are well known to each other. She's brilliant.
So the tyranny of hindsight after suicidal loss. Yeah, I mean, all right. Well, we're just getting started. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm going to move to question number 2. Can you believe that?
No.
You got almost 20 minutes of gold from one question. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you do an interview, people. Oh, just kidding. Okay. When you write about Dom and your grief, what is your main hope for people who read your post?
One of my hopes is that they when somebody dies by suicide, their narrative can end up being that they died by suicide. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did, but what? But tell us about them, and what did they do, and what were they, and what did they love, and what do you remember? What was funny about? It's as if, if somebody died of something else, you still talk about the thing that happened before they died, but it's that the narrative gets completely consumed by the suicide. And my hope would be that because I do talk about Dom and how I feel my relationship with him still exists in a different way, and I talk about what's funny about him, and I talk about what's brave about him. I talk as a mother does about her child, and she's proud of him,
as you should,
as I should. And I'd like to think that a big part of what I'm doing is letting other people know do the same. Like, tell me about your child. You love your child, and they were funny, and they had all sorts of things.
Right? Don't let the last act of theirs be what defines them.
No,
that's ridiculous. Everybody has a legacy far beyond what caused anybody's death.
Yeah.
Mindful of It says, "Hi everyone, apologies for missing the beginning. You should say sorry." Yeah.
Right.
Chano says, "Thank you for speaking today. You've helped me in my grief. You're a courageous griever."
Thank you, Chano. So you.
That's a beautiful comment, and I love that I get to see that. I want to kind of shift gears to one of your posts that you recently have written and ask a question kind of from that, if you don't mind. In mourning and how it's different from grieving, you talk about creating personal mourning rituals. How can someone begin to design a ritual that honors how did you design the ritual that honors Dom in the way that truly works for them or for you?
I think it evolves. I think things evolve, and I certainly find sometimes that certain things last for a period of time, and then I move on to something else, and then just occurs to me, just because I think that's the thing about grief. It is ever changing. And I think it's helpful for us to see it as a moving thing and move within it, and I think that feels less heavy. For me, I mean, one of the things I did love doing from the very beginning, which was helpful to me, and I'm going to be writing a post about this, probably the next post, was revisiting the benches that we'd been on. We'd sat down on walks, with our flask of coffee, and going back to those, and actually sometimes picking something really beautiful from a walk. I've got a dog, Sunny, and walking's a big thing. So going on a walk I'd have done with Dom, with the dog, and finding something really lovely. Oh, dogs are the best, aren't they?
Dogs are the best.
Beautiful. And actually, taking something, whatever the season was, there's some really, like at the moment, there's some really nice conkers, and actually putting them on the bench where I had sat with him, sitting there having my coffee, and then taking a picture. And then in my albums, I do an album once a year. I do print off my favourite photos and make it into a sort of book that actually can look at. And at the back, I always have a page for Dom, so he's still in the family album. And I'll find some photos from old times sometimes, and I'll put these benches, and I'll put things. And it's just a way of saying you travel with me, Dom. You're still here, and I go back to this place, and that's just a small thing, but I just find I'll come back from a walk like that, and I feel loads better. I just feel like I've had an opportunity. This is my point, really. I've had an opportunity to do some grieving in a way that feels calm, in a way that feels meaningful. I've not been overcome by it, because I've actually, this is the point, unlike something that suddenly comes at you, I've actually opted to do this thing. And I guess I have agency over it in a way that feels so much better, because at the beginning you have no agency and it just comes at you all the time. I mean, you're virtually on the floor in the fetal position when it first happens. But the fact you've got agency, and you can still say, okay, I don't need this grief to go away. I'm happy. It can stay with me, and I will honour it. And I go back home then, it's like, okay, it's normal life now, because I've had given that time to it. So that's the way I see ritual.
All I heard was, and I do it in my life, very different though, was reclaiming spaces. So going back to some place that you remember with somebody and then keeping the memory alive is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that is such a beautiful thing to do, and allow yourself to feel whatever you feel in those moments too.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's important too. Like you know that you're going somewhere that yes, you used to sit here with your son and drink coffee.
Yeah.
That might cause you to feel something, and allowing yourself to just feel it.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you know, like
feeling safe, feeling that feeling is safe. And I think at the beginning, your feelings are so unsafe because your feelings are coming to attack you, and recognizing actually this feeling's it's just letting me know it knows what if this feels like it's a friend. This feeling is a friend. It's very different.
mm. That's I mean, the perspective shifts is really all that you can do to help continue to move through your own grief, right? Wow. You just made me want to, after this year, print out a whole bunch of random pictures from my camera roll and put it in a fucking book and put it away because the one thing that I miss from, like, right now, I have no pictures of me. Of,
No.
like and, like, of my childhood. Like, I don't have like, my mom has my baby book, right? Like, my mom has my book. So it's just like, I don't have anything so I can reflect back on. So I think it's important to do stuff like that because it continues to allow you to have gratitude for the life that you do have, you know?
And that is very true. I do find that, that it does become a gratitude thing. And I've got pictures of walks with friends and at the beginning, when it felt there was a blanket of bleakness over so much of life, it felt like, and you can lose perspective because the bleak moments can end up having more precedence in more presence than in reality they do. And I found that doing an album and actually putting the nice stuff, with family and pictures of friends and nice things I've done, holidays we've been on, it didn't take away. I wasn't saying, oh, it's all jolly and isn't it lovely, because it wasn't all lovely at all, but it did make me think, hang on, there's good stuff still happening. It is still happening. Look, there's the evidence. I kind of almost needed to prove it to myself. Helped.
I love that for you. Again, I thank you again for being here. Thank you, everybody that's in the chat, for being here. I just wanted to say, before I move on to my next question, if anybody has any question for Esther, obviously feel free to drop it in the little message box. She's not here just answering my question. She can answer yours too. All right. How do you decide when to say yes to a new opportunity versus no when grieving Dom feels so raw?
Well, at the very beginning, when Dom died in the April, and I wrote a post about this, and I decided I would keep learning grade 8 piano, even though it was so tough, because he knew I'd started doing that. We shared a great love of the piano, and I talked to him about how tough the pieces were, and I knew that he would want me to do it. I just thought he would want me to carry on doing this, and it was also something I could do in my own time in my home. And if I started crying when I was playing a piece, nobody would see it. It was something I could do in my own private space. That was my absolute yes. And I was really pleased that I kept doing it. And there was part of me that I think I would have been really disappointed with myself that something which was for me, it was for me, I wanted to do it for me, that I'd somehow said, no, you can't do that for you. You can't do anything for you now. There was an element of me thinking, yes, you do still get to do things for you. The stopping work was a no-brainer, because I just thought, well, I haven't got the capacity to keep working. I was teaching. I do piano teaching. That was okay, because that was I could do that from home, and it was actually in COVID times, so it was all on the screen. So I could keep that going. But the thought of going into the classroom, I just thought, I haven't got the resilience to do this anymore. I knew from the off. I remember thinking, when Dom died, I remember thinking, this is now a job. This is a job. You've just been given a whole extra job. So it kind of felt like, well, I can't do 3 jobs. So a job's got to go to make space for this job. This is work, and it is work. It was work, and
Well, it's interesting. You're talking about allowing yourself to process and grieve through a tragic loss. That's what you needed to do, right? Like that was the work that you needed to do.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that we kind of scope it like that? Like everybody should be allotted time without guilt. Like take all the fucking time that you need.
Yeah. When you look at when you look at the leave that some people get from work, it's huge. It's inhuman. The thought that
I can get three. I get 3 days. I get 3 days of bereavement. That in the States, I think it's 3 days for like Anne or something. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's fucking 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like if my mom passed away, I get 3 days, and then I have to use like I can have the rest of the time off, but then you have to use your vacation time or and you can't use your sick time because we know you're not sick. I was like, but I am sick. I just lost like somebody great. Like, what are you talking about? Like that's again. Everybody should have freedom to do that. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. I wanted to take a second to just welcome in Beth, Kurt, Robes. Thank you for greeting everybody for me. You're an amazing human. Coming to terms with. Thank you for joining. Wow. Well, I'm glad that you obviously were capable of taking the necessary time and you have giving yourself that space to do so and continue because that's going to be something that you will do the rest of your life. This doesn't just end to tomorrow because you put some stuff out there. Well, I mean, I'm not naive to think that. Like, I know that this is something you will carry literally for the rest of your life, and I'm sure it has its own effect on your other children as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the truth is that everybody grieves in their own way, and their relationship to their brother. He's their brother. He's my son, and I think they've witnessed me feeling very guilty, and at times been frustrated, saying, you're not guilty, you're a good mum. But it's a different relationship. I don't know what it's like to lose a brother. I'm very glad that they have each other for sure, because I think to become a just the only sibling would be very hard. And I know they get a lot of comfort from each other, and they're brilliant. I mean, they are amazing. Dom would be so proud of how his brother and sister have they've just gone, fuck it. We keep going, and we're going to live our lives because Dom would want us to. That's their MO, and it's great. It's good for me to not feel like I have another layer of responsibility, really, in truth, because it could be really hard for me, couldn't it, if I was also now worrying about them.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. Things could be very different, and it's that cliche saying, "It always could be worse." And I'm like, that's such an ugly thing to say to this, but that's the reality of it. I'm glad that your kids have each other and have agreed that I'm going to live my life because that's what my brother would want me to do. Yeah. Like I can't stop my life. I can't run into holes and just pretend nothing happened. Like I need to continue to live the life I was working on because that's what my brother would have wanted me to do anyway. So.
And there are profound changes for them. Undeniably, they've made lifestyle choices, which are because of losing Dom. But I think alongside that, they have made the choice that they'll have kind of a more pleasure from life because they haven't said this, but I to me it seems like they get to do Dom's living for him now.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, so of course they're going to have bigger lives. They've got more life to sort of live in a way because they're going to take him with him. So that's how I view them. But
well, I mean, I hope that's how you view it for yourself too.
Yeah.
So hello, Simon and Lucy. Thank you guys for joining. All right, we're gonna on to my next question. How have you learned to carry Dom into the future while still experiencing hope, healing, and joy?
Have I learned to take him into the future? It's a mixture. I think for me, I don't want to be Miss Havisham. I've used that image before. Miss Havisham sits there and she's wearing a kind of life stopped the minute he left her. I don't want to be that kind of mum where life stopped the minute Dom went. It can be hard because, of course, they're your things that you did together did stop then, and if you like, they're all in the past. Because everything is in the past now, all the memories, the whole lot, it's all in the past. I have actually sought to create present Dom in the present, and a lot of it is because I know the kind of thing he would actually find amusing, say, or what he'd be interested in. Again, on walks, sometimes I'll walk and I'll see something like this, like a mushroom growing in a really wild fashion on the side of the side of the tree, and I'll take a photograph of it, and I on the WhatsApp thread which Dom and I had when he was alive, I send a picture to him and say, "Wow, look at this mushroom." That's the kind of thing I do now. That's in the present, isn't it? That mushroom's in the present, but it's based on on the fact I know he would just be all over that mushroom. He'd be like, "Wow, look at this!" He'd probably send a picture of it to me. So these things, it takes him into the present, even though that is it's a past memory. It can still be a present one. That's the kind of thing I do.
I think that's beautiful, honestly. Like not again, never comparing anything ever, but I lost my grandmother when I was 1, so I never had a relationship with her. And up until recently, I feel like living my life in a loop, right? They talk about generational trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of like felt it, and it's just like I started sharing a little bit more with like what I'm going through with my aunt and stuff. And she opens doors up for me by speaking about her. And I am now able to see things. So I just feel like being able to live today and cooking. I cook potatoes and eggs, and that's apparently an American Italian thing that my grandmother cooked all the time. And it is literally one of my favorite things to do. So now I feel like, now that I know that now, she's here and I'm creating like a memory with her every time I cook. So exactly. I understand what you're saying. And I do feel like that is super important to keep people alive in that type of sense.
Yeah.
And because you were blessed with, you said he was 30.
Yeah.
30 beautiful years.
We had a lot longer than a lot of people have. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
I know, but still,
I am grateful for the 30 years we had, and it's more than some others. I think we could have lost him earlier.
Hindsight, right? Hindsight. Well, again, thank you for being here and so openly sharing everything with us. I did a silly thing, and I forgot to like charge my phone apparently well enough. So I'm just like, you better last for another at least 20 minutes. So
or you'll just have me just blathering on. So don't do that.
And people would love that, I'm sure. Stop that. That's what. Don't be silly. All right. What keeps you motivated to continue sharing your story about Dom, even when it's incredibly painful to revisit?
I've been very aware of not wanting to tread water, not just recycle. I'm not a fan of recycling misery. It's not a genre I particularly like. I was very aware. I was very aware when the first series that the potential to think like, this is. I have some friends reading my stuff, and I know they find it really difficult now. But I don't want people to be backing away when they see me or starting to read this thing. I can't bear to read this. It's so depressing. So I from the off, I always tried. I didn't try to do it. This is who I am. I always found something from it because I don't want to be miserable either. It's miserable being miserable. I
love these riddles.
I'm having completed that series that I sort of set myself that challenge. It got to the end of Dom's when we lost Dom at his anniversary, and I just literally I was like, oh, thank God it's over. I felt a lot better, but I was absolutely wrung out, and I gave myself, I think, about a month off. And then I thought, well, hang on, what now? And somebody on Substack, I'll probably pronounce the name inaccurately, Marjorie Pizzoli, had helped me set up my website, and I opened it to my readers and said, what do you think I should call myself? And we came up with, well, I wanted to keep the losing my son to suicide. That was important to me because I wanted people to be able to find this by putting that keyword in. But then it was hope, healing, and joy. And I thought, oh, and I love the number 3. Have 3 children, and I just love the number 3. I just think it's a great number, and I find it really helpful. And I thought, well, okay, so I've just done the first series, and that was hope. I mean, it didn't feel like hope sometimes. It felt like holding on and painfully enduring, but there was, there was hope in there. And I thought, okay, now I can go healing, joy. So maybe my next series will be healing, and that's when I started thinking, and I called it the obstacles to healing, because I felt like I recognized now that one of the big obstacles for me had been that trauma, that I kept being drawn back, and the guilt. So my next series, in answer to the question, which I remembered, it was what motivated me. I was motivated because I thought, now I want to do something different now. I'm going to do something different. I'm not recycling. I'm going to do something different. And because I'm feeling different. And so I wanted really to sort of explore the whole complexity of this kind of loss, and this kind of grief, and this kind of guilt, and this kind of, it had so many layers and so many tentacles. So I started to write, and I started to explore grief theories, which I'd had already. In fairness, I'd already read a lot about them, because I like to kind of understand what's going on in my head. I think I said to you, did I? It's like the car. What's under the bonnet? What's driving this thing? I don't want to sit. I want to know, what is it that's making it work. So that, to me, that the grief theories are doing that. And so I then looked at different grief theories, and I looked at Kubler-Ross, and that's not great for this kind of loss. And I looked at I went through the co-destiny. I came up to co-destiny being my absolute favorite one. But I thought I know that it really helped me, and I kind of wanted to do a potted guide for somebody maybe earlier on in the process who could actually start looking at this and could start to get some kind of a grip on this. It's just absolute chaos in there.
Yeah, I think my name is what you're describing.
Yeah, it is.
I think you now get why that's my name.
Yeah,
because but I love what you say, because it's like, I feel like that's the same. I'm doing the same thing, just different, right? Same thing but different. Is I need a blueprint and understanding of my brain, because if I can understand what's happening, then I can help other people that don't even realize that this could be a blueprint that fits your life.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Let me give you a hand.
I'd like, you've gone through it yourself, and you've put all that time and work. It's like, I want, I don't just want to do it for me. I want to make it an available thing for others.
That's beautiful. Mindful of It did say, Substack is such a beautiful place. And I think that was because you referenced Marjorie helping you with your website. And again, amazing community here. It doesn't, until I do these lives, I'm like, nobody's real on this thing. Nobody's real. There's no way that there's this many nice people on one platform.
Yeah.
But there are, and everybody does have a story. And I'm super grateful for you being here and sharing, your story, as well as Dom's. And I said, I'd love it for, at some point, something glitchy freaking happened, and he kind of say, yeah, I hear you people, stop talking about me. With that being said, can you share a moment recently when Dom's presence surprised you in a funny and unexpected way?
Well, I mean, we get the rainbows. Everyone gets the rainbows, don't they? But I was coming back from the service, the St. Martin's in the Field service, for survivors of people who survived a suicide loss. And I was on the train with a friend. She was facing the other way. I can't bear it. We're facing the wrong way, but she was quite happy to do that. So I was sitting in the train, and she said, "Oh, look over there!" And there was a rainbow in the sky, and it'd been very rainy, and it just felt like, actually, this is a good day to show up, Dom. Just been to a service. I've cried. It's been awful. It was beautiful and awful at the same time. The awfulness was that that had to be there because, for the reason I was there. But it was also very beautiful. And just coming back, we were just pulling into the station, and it had been very, very miserable. I mean, we've had typhoons over here virtually. Not quite like you have in America, but it has been pretty bad.
I heard it's been very rainy and grey.
And then out of that, this beautiful rainbow's come on that particular day at that particular time.
Kind of feels like a hug, right?
It does feel like a hug. Yeah, it does feel like a hug. But I mean, there's been so many. I mean, I have had these coincidence of dates. It's more coincidence of dates with Dom, and the fact that he sent me the message. If you read back on that's one of my pieces, which is called about unconditional bonds, unbroken bonds, I think it is. And the day that Dom told me how to send voice messages, which he did it exactly to the year, the day before he died. And he showed me a way to keep this going. So I now send a message to him and send one back from him because he said, Mum, if you send one, I'll send one back. And he did that literally 365 days before he died. And that, to me, there's a 1 in 365 chance of that happening. So, that was pretty big. When I found that out, I was blown away by that, because we always did chat and he left voice messages a lot, and I've got lots of ones from when he was alive, but I've continued to do that about a year after he died. I thought, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to send them to him, and then I'm going to imagine what he'd say back. So I just kind of do that, and it sounds like I've absolutely lost the plot, but it's like he ends up saying via, I mean, it's me. I know it's me. I'm not completely bad. But when I channel him, when I imagine what he'd say, I find so much lovely kindness and wisdom because I'm allowing him, it's come from him, and compassion because it's him doing it. It's not me. And it shows we've got it in us. If we want to, we are kind to ourselves. If we can find a way of being kind.
I want to validate that you're not out of your damn mind. I have had moments in different lows of my life where I have been crying with my own self, but I have heard. I told you my grandmother died when I was 1, so I have no idea what she sounds like, but I feel like I hear her in my fucking head telling me what is really probably happening, because again, sometimes we're our worst enemies in the way that we think about things. So, yeah, I totally can. If you're open to allowing your son to have a conversation through you, with you, I totally believe that happens.
Yeah. And those are the sort of conversation. They've not come from nowhere. They're pretty much the same we'd have had when he was alive.
Yeah.
I've got quite a good blueprint to work on here. Yeah.
I love that though. And I love that he continues to show up in his own ways. I'm like, my mom associates rainbows with her dad, so with my grandfather. Butterflies are my grandmother. So like when a butterfly randomly shows up, it's usually my grandmother saying hello. Those are like the two that I feel like maybe are cliche-y that I associate with humans. But I think it's also the numbers. Like I'm very into angel numbers, so I do feel like sometimes they're speaking to me through other signs and stuff. But my aunt has like this great story of in her house, and I've been in her. I picked her house for her, and nobody's doing nothing, and everybody's downstairs, and upstairs something falls down, and it was my grandmother. Like I said, butterfly. So my aunt had like a butterfly that was framed that her mother had given her, and it was hanging. And like I don't know, I forget who I was all in the house or whatever, and we heard the noise, and then she goes up and she's like, "I swear to God, that was my mom." I was like, yeah, it's probably getting our attention about something. Probably like, no, that wasn't true. Whatever you just said was not true. Like, I like to think that everybody has a sense of humor and
yeah, exactly,
and that they are with us. So, what's the weirdest or most unexpected piece of advice you've given yourself to sort of survive grief after Dom's death that actually works?
The weirdest advice,
or unexpected. Like you didn't think that would work, but
well, for me, the unexpected. I'm a really sociable person, and I am also someone who doesn't like to feel something has defeated me. And after Dom died, we were due to go to a wedding sometime. I can't remember when it was. It wasn't that long after he died. And I said to my partner, I'm not going. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but for me, that was like I just would never have done that. I'm someone like my mother brought me up to, like, you honor, you say when you're going to do something, you do it. You've said you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And I just thought, it's not good for me. This is not, it wasn't that I knew I couldn't do it. It was that
you didn't
I
want
didn't want to do it. It's like, suddenly it was like, I don't want to do this. I don't need to do this. No one's going to, and all the things which in the past would have been there in my head thinking, well, you have, that you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Just put your big girl pants on and do it.
You don't have to do shit. You know that, right?
No.
Every day you get out of bed, you should give yourself a little.
I know. But for me, and that's not extraordinary, most sensible people would have not gone anyway. But for me, that was actually me breaking the mold. Do you know what I mean? It was me going.
Yeah. That was you taking the first step, advocating for your fucking self. I'm glad. I'm glad. Do you feel like you've continued to move forward and communicating? No, I'm not. Right?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
I have. Yeah, I have. I've sort of thought, I think I've done more thinking, like, what's going on in here when I think about this thing. Is it making me feel good inside, or is the thought of it making me feel like, no? And in the past, I think I overrode those feelings in the past. I think I just thought, well, it's tough, just do it. Don't be fussed. Don't make a fuss.
Well, I mean, I wrote a whole post on expectations and the fact that people literally move through life doing things that they probably don't want to do, but because they're expected to do it, or they've agreed to do it, or whatever the case may be, they feel like they are obligated to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only thing you're ever obligated to do is take care of your fucking self.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Yeah. Like, all you're responsible for is you.
Yeah.
So, like, you showing up for you in whichever way you need to, at any time that you need to, I'm always gonna. Because that's what I encourage all people to do that, and I really wish, we also would also, like, if we're on the other side of it, be like, cool, I respect that.
Yeah.
Take the time that you need.
Yeah.
Like, don't be the fucking dick friend that's like, you're not coming? What do you mean you're not coming? I thought you were coming.
And I agree. It's for the other person to ease your way, to make it much more comfortable, because you're far more likely to be able to rejoin the crowd if you think the crowd has got that amount of care for you, aren't you?
To me, that's literally common sense. And I know that sounds like ridiculous for me to say, but, like, to be like, I would never want somebody to show up to something for me if I knew that they were also just dealing with something.
Yeah.
Like, I would never expect that.
Yeah.
One. So if somebody did, respectfully reach out to me and say, I apologize, but I cannot make it to something, not even with an explanation, I'll already know why, right? And I am like, oh my God, and I make it about me?
Not good.
You just, to somebody test me, because I'll have to be on something, because that's not the type of person I am. I do not know how to be that way. And I'm not saying that it is wrong to be that way, but I want people that are that way to understand that too. Like, it is your wedding. You're right. And the people going there are going to make sure that you have the best day ever. Me not going is not going to affect that.
No, exactly.
Like, exactly.
I think a big part, that one of the problems with something like this, very heavy death of suicide, is that there is the feeling that what's happened to you pushes you into the periphery, and this is probably linked with some old style stigma and whatever. And there is, I know for me, I did actually wonder, do I belong anymore? Has this put me? My experience is so out there.
You put yourself in a box.
Probably.
Well, now I'm a mom.
Probably, yeah.
Who lost a child to suicide, so now that puts me here.
Yeah, and it's like, people are frightened. People are very frightened of suicide.
I'm over here like, Esther, just talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how people wouldn't just be like, Esther, just talk to me. I'm here. I'm totally here for you.
Yeah.
Like, and to hear that you would think that you being somewhere would make others uncomfortable.
It was probably far, far more my perception I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it's there, it's that perception, and possibly then you feel like, well, I've got to go to things because otherwise, this slippage is going to get worse. I'm going to end up like this person who's just at home being miserable, and there won't be any place, because we don't have a perception. We don't have a perception of it coming to an end. I think that is one of the problems. When things are really bad, we only have a present. We don't have a future to look into. If we had, we'd go, okay, let's give ourselves 6 months off, and let's just bed down, and let's have nice baths, and let's go on calm walks, and let's just keep our nervous system completely. But I know for me, it's like, is this it then? Is this it? This is going to be forever now. My ability to project into anything other than in this place was seriously compromised. That might be a personal thing for me, but that was definitely there.
Well, I mean, you sharing it might change somebody else's perspective.
I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. Anything we're moved to speak is to be heard for a reason.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a poet. Who would have thought? Beth is sending hugs. I'm sending hugs. We are going to have to, unfortunately, eventually wrap up this conversation, but I like to stay on the lighter side. So
yeah,
I have my last question for you is going to be, if you had to describe your life now in one ridiculous, heartwarming metaphor, something Dom himself might have invented, what would it be?
Dom, when he travelled, he had a tattoo put on his foot, and it was "Life is just a silly hat." And it's like, well, what does that actually mean? And he loved hats.
But I actually love that saying.
So that's why on my website there's a yellow hat. What does that actually mean? It doesn't mean anything. On one level, it doesn't mean anything. It's just nonsense. But on the other level, it means that actually, let's not take it too seriously, because it is just a bit silly. And if the best we can come up with is to say it's a silly hat, and that's the whole meaning of it, if that really is the whole meaning, why are we sweating at the small stuff? Because it doesn't really matter. And I mean, that was very typical of Dom, and he loved wearing hats, and he wore hats back and all the rest of it. But I think in some ways, although it's just a silly throwaway phrase, I think it kind of points to just have fun. Just have fun. And I think Dom wanted to still have fun. And I think a big part of why he's not with us anymore is that he couldn't find, he found himself so weighed down that the fun-loving side of him, who was him at his best. Well, it's one of sides of me. He could have other lovely sides as well. But that, watching Dom in full flight, having great fun, was a thing to behold. And I think he would want us to just say, whatever's going on, just be silly and have fun, because there's so much heaviness around. And so and I do, I still have fun, I still have fun. I still joke, and life is a living.
I think, what was it again what's the saying?
Life is just a silly hat.
And he tattooed that on him.
He had it on his foot.
I think it is so much more than just I think that is such a I am over here having like a whole deep reflection. Mindful of it says, completely memorizing chat, ladies. I was so busy just listening, captivating. Thank you for keeping this discussion going. Well,
thank you.
You know how much I appreciate you. And I was trying to, because I'm pretty sure I couldn't remember, was it what post it was, but you had posted a picture of him wearing a silly hat. And I was, this is
a chicken hat.
Yes. I was like, this is literally everything. I'm like, this is everything. And that saying is literally everything, because I feel like it's more than, life is, don't take life so seriously. It's like just I genuinely feel like we are always supposed to have the kid mentality in us.
Yeah.
And we just need to learn how to keep our kid happy.
And don't take yourself too seriously.
I mean, yeah. So I love that. I'm down like, "Ooh, I'll get that shit tattooed on me and in his damn memory." Like, oh, yeah, this chicken hat, it's fucking he's fucking adorable too. Like, I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yes, he was adorable.
Handsome man, handsome man.
Very handsome.
Well, Esther, for a conversation that could feel so heavy, you have been such a delight, honestly, and I'm so thankful that you were willing to do this with me and really share something that I mean, I don't know anybody in my personal life that has lost a child to suicide.
Okay.
I know people that lost their life to overdose, and that like that could feel like suicide.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I can only imagine like the pain that any one parent could ever feel losing a child, period.
Yeah.
But let alone in that type of way. So I do very much support everything that you do on your Substack.
Thank you.
I wish you like loads of the best, and I hope that you continue to find the community on here that you need that's going to continue to walk with you during the rest of this journey. Because you're working on healing. Does that mean Joy is next?
Joy, I've just started on just starting the Joy. Yeah.
So that means I wanted some stories of Esther going some fucking crazy places and doing like I want Esther for a day to only ever have to say yes. Like you couldn't say no at all.
It's crossed my mind. I know.
Like do it just for just one day. You and your kids just go somewhere and just like hey, we're only ever saying yes. I don't care. And be prepared for whatever comes from it.
I know.
That's the joy, that's the living, that's the memories that are worth having,
It's the embracing what we have. It's embracing the life and doing it on Dom's behalf because he can't do it now, so we're going to do it for him.
Yeah, and he's going to see all of it with you guys.
Totally.
So, the bathroom guy says, "Great chat. Thanks so much to the both of you. Peace and meta and stay entangled always. Thank you for sharing."
Thanks, Ray.
I can't thank you enough for
well, thank you for this opportunity and everything that you do. I feel really, I'm very pleased to have this opportunity and have this chance to speak. I've been wondering about venturing into actually this format and been very nervous, and you've helped me cross over that threshold of fear. So, I maybe will do, when we do our posts and you can actually do your own little speaky bit. Who knows?
I mean, I would love to be able to one day just be scrolling and seeing Esther hosting, her own live with her own co-host, and it happened to be another parent who unfortunately lost their child to suicide, and you guys just continue to bring awareness to something like, again, it's you can't hold the weight that they couldn't hold. No. Right? You can't do that. You can't end up exactly like them, right? So you have to figure out.
That is very well observed. That's exactly it. And at the beginning, you somehow think, well, I do the best for them now by holding this for them. No, you don't. No, you don't. They wouldn't want that. They were trying to put the thing down, not give it to you.
Exactly. Everybody is saying thank you. I just find it kind of chilling. Seriously, I have goosebumps. Before I end this, do you know who just joined?
No.
Keep the smile. So I'm just going to say that's him saying, just keep smiling, Mom.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Esther, I will talk with you very soon, my love.
Thanks.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.